Hey everybody, it's Mad Matster here. I'm doing a video today, driving. People are going to criticize me for that, but I have this like thing that holds my camera, my phone, so I'm going to be doing it because I can drive with it, unlike that troll that I want to decimate in existence. This video is just a little video. I'm going to probably be doing a ranking video on Fates Warning albums, and I'm just want to, because I'm trying to listen to their latter day stuff, and I'm just going to go through. So this has been a long time in my head about like prog metal and stuff. I've had a hard time dealing with prog metal because what I play in some of my bands and stuff is somewhat considered prog metal to some extent, and I've played with people that were really into it that kind of pushed me in that direction. I half-heartedly went to that direction a lot of the time. Now I'm probably actually more closer to that now than I was before in a lot of ways with my music and just what I like. But I wanted to talk about Fates Warning because I'll probably do a ranking video because I have some of my MP3 players in my car have like all the Fates Warning material on it, and this is like my thoughts. These are my thoughts on it. So this is my problem with the prog metal thing in general, and this is kind of Fates Warning encapsulates that in some ways. So one of my problems with Fates Warning, especially later stuff, is that they got really into like trying to be like deep in this like depressing, dark way. Like, oh my God, it's so like we're so profound talking about these deep subjects, and that's kind of like Rush, like the band Rush. Rush. Anyways, that's a joke, inside joke. It's kind of like the band Rush. They started talking about these philosophical deep things, but at the same time, it's like, or Ayn Rand or whatever, which people criticize them for. But it's a little different with Rush. Rush did it in a way that was kind of like, hey, they're talking about this. It's kind of a metaphor. It's kind of cool. A lot of bands did that, but like Fates Warning's like, I was just listening to like at Fates Warning X. It's like, okay, dude. And then, like, Dream Theater didn't even do this. So, they have, like, these really, like, sort of like, well, they're so profound and deep. They listen to Muse and Radiohead and have these electronic parts. Oh, my God. It's like, I like Pleasant Shade of Grey to some extent. That was the last one I really liked. Oh, there is an exception, and that's the Sean Arch Matthews albums. I do like some of those. But there's this problem I have with latter day prog metal. I even bought this Haken album. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? And I know it sounds really kind of weird to talk about, but like, that's why I like kind of with the later prog metal stuff, I prefer black metal, like prog, like Arcturus, or like there's a lot of bands like that. I'm trying to think of all the names, all the bands. Shit, I mean, Borknagar, it's just like just all sorts of stuff that's just more on my even keel with later prog metal. A lot of these bands are doing that stuff. Enslaved, fucking A, that's some great stuff. So I'd rather listen to that than like a Fates Warning album from like 1999 or 2005 or whatever, And oh shit, low battery. So another thing about it is like, it tries so hard to like be heavy in the modern way, like that last Haken album's like, oh, there's some jet parts and some auto-tuned vocals, like, oh, we can't sound too 80s or even 90s anymore. And it's like, these people eat it up. It's like, well, Symphony X has sounded the same since day one. I'm not a Symphony X fanatic, but at least, and another thing about Symphony X is they talk about fantasy stuff. So prog metal heads in like the 2000s, other than worshiping Opeth for some odd reason, all of a sudden, like after Blackwater Park, when Opeth were doing the shit like since the mid 90s, I loved it early on. So they just got they're so like, we're progressive. I listen to progressive metal. I don't listen to metal. This girl said this once. I'm just like, fuck off, it's pretentiousness. And Fates Warning especially, so they do you have these grungy parts. We listen to Soundgarden, I'm in this side project called Engine. They're like grunge, King's X, The King's X are a good band too. I'm not gonna diss them. I like them. I'm not familiar with them enough, but like, I hated this shit when they tried to do this like pretentious kind of shit. Like, just like, oh, does it and Dream Theater did some of that stuff too, but Dream Theater had more variety. Didn't they have a vampire song on the fucking one of those albums? It's Count of Tuscany. You know, they had that song or whatever. They had, you know, Monte Cristo or whatever the fuck. You know, they had, you know, they talked about Mike did pretentious 20-minute songs about Mike Portnoy being an alcoholic and shit. But still, it's more interesting than fucking being mopey. Fates Warning, like, we're so great. We have this acoustic guitar and this like little trip hop part, and then we have this like grungy guitar because we like Soundgarden and Kane Zacks. It's like, fuck off, dude. Oh, you're so. And then at the time, Jim Matthews is like, I can't listen, even though he changed his mind later when the bucks started rolling in for that John Arch stuff, or the pressure from the festivals to pay him millions of dollars or whatever. Probably not millions of dollars, but I'm just exaggerating. Pay him money, you know, to reunite with John Arch. But he was reunited with John Arch. The Arch Matthews ones I can handle, those Arch Matthews albums. Even they have a lot of chug-a-lugs. There are a lot of chug-a-lug riffs. I'm not a big fan of chug-a-lug riffs, okay? I'm just going to say. I like chug-a-lugs. Like Dream Theater. This is the thing about Dream Theater. Their chug-a-lug riffs are actually interesting. The fucking Glass Prison, it's like, look, they're playing all this other stuff. The chug-a-lug is like kind of cool. But when other bands do chug-a-lug riffs, Train of Thought. Okay, Train of Thought wasn't a great album, but the, you know, 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence, Black Clouds and Silver Lightnings, I love those albums. I mean, Black Clouds probably a little more because it has more probably chug-a-lug than other albums. They have the little parts that sound like Third Eye Blind or whatever the fuck alternative band, some part, you know, of the concept song. My ex-girlfriend at the time. It sounds like whatever. You know, I prefer. I'm a trad guy. I'm more of a trad guy, not a trad wife. I don't want a trad wife. But like I'm a little more trad than that fucking, you know, this later day Fates Warning, latter day power metal too. It's just like, oh, what the fuck. With the exception of like the really disco-y kind of weird stuff like Beast in Black, I really like. But anyways, I'm kind of rattling a million miles per minute. I'm on cocaine. No, I'm not on cocaine. I'm on coffee. Just a, you know, a thing, French press coffee. So I just think it's really annoying. Just listen, and the fans are even more cringe than anything. You know, you go to Prog Power, he's like, I don't like power metal. It's too fuck off. You know, it's like, fuck you. You know, I know some people. I still know people that say that kind of stuff. But it's like, I don't know. I just don't understand this, like, trying to be modern and pretentious with the later Fates Warning stuff. It's like, whoa. It's like, oh, we can't play dual guitar harmonies half the song anymore. Why the fuck not? You know? Why not? You know, some of those albums, you know, like, they were innovative for the time. Perfect Symmetry and Parallels. And No Exit is kind of cool too. It was kind of going more towards the thrashy side of things, but and then that's my least favorite of the classic era. Other than Night Brocken, I don't like that one that much either. But those like albums around it are great, phenomenal. And I used to say that they were like my biggest influence other than Voivod for prog metal, and I'd still kind of stand by that. But some of those latter day albums, just listen to this shit. It's like, dude, what is this? Like, you know, what are you trying to do here? It's like, it's just like gut-wrenchingly pretentious and placating this modern thing, like maybe for maybe 90s. That's more so. Like Queensryche, they weren't even as competent as Fates Warning with their later stuff. It's like just shit beyond shit, like their later stuff. Like after Hearing the Now Frontier. I mean, Hearing the Now Frontier is bad enough in some ways. I actually don't mind that album half as much as like the later stuff, like some of the latter day stuff, because there's still some semblance of decent songwriting and stuff, and I like some grunge stuff, don't get me wrong. I like some grunge sellout stuff too, what I call grunge sellout bands, like Kiss's Carnival Soul, or albums. Kiss's Carnival Souls, it's like total grunge sellout album, but I kind of like it, you know? They kind of did a decent job with it, so I don't know, Fates Warning kind of had a little bit of that, a little bit of electronics. They're trying to be this and that, and these modern prog bands and like modern rock, and it's like, dude, I would rather listen to a Motorhead Venom ripoff worshiping band from 2005 that sounds like and that's recorded on a fucking like Tascam 4-track that was used for $50 from eBay at the time than listen to a fucking Fates Warning modern day, you know, just what the fuck, dude. It's just like, and the people are more cringe than anything. It's like, all right, you know, you have the Paul from Profantica, you know, on this recent interview with J-Dog. It's like, you know, he's, you know, that's the other side of it, right? But you have this other side that it's almost more cringe. Like, oh, he's bashing, you know, Burzum or whatever in the video. It's like, okay, yeah, whatever. You bash Burzum, and then you have this other side. I mean, from that side of things, and then you have this other side. It's like, what's that guy on YouTube? I forgot. It was some night below the night or something guy. Just a lot of these guys on YouTube. You know, I like it's just become the night. I think that's what it is. You know, these guys that are like, I hate black metal, and then you have Prague, Dream Theater, and Bane of Salvation. Bane of Salvation's another fucking band that I do like some of their old material, right? But they became so stuck up their own ass after B. It's like, fuck off, dude. You know, the problem with a lot of these prog bands and prog musicians and fans, they don't have a sense of humor. Oh shit, what's going on here? They don't have a fucking sense of humor. That's the problem. It's like, you know, King Diamond has a sense of humor. I think even Manowar early on had a sense of humor about what they're doing. When they became too serious, it became kind of a thing that sucked. Have a fucking sense of humor about your shit, you know? It's like, fucking Mike Portnoy, I met him. You know, I met him after a Dream Theater show. He's a funny, affable dude. I mean, Dream Theater, it's a mixed bag for me, but I respect them more, at least when they have Mike Portnoy in the reins. I respect them more than this pretentious, even if they do an album that sounds like U2 or whatever. I've never heard Octavarium. You know, I'm not a fan of. They take risks. They do a lot of different shit, right? There's a song off Black Clouds that sounded like sort of Norwegian black metal-ish, or at least like Unexpect or something. Like, that's not Norwegian, but I think they're Canadian. But like, shit, you know, they take more risks and they're more interesting. Even though, and they're not pretentious about it. Okay, yeah, we'll have a song that sounds like Radiohead on their next album. But they're not like trying to be like, oh, so deep, so heavy with it. You know, maybe they are in some ways, but like, they're just like, try to have fun. You know, that's what they do. They try to have fun by experimenting with all this shit. Some of it's shit. There's no doubt about it. But at least they're not trying to be like so serious, like Pain of Salvation, oh, B, and all these albums. That's Scar Sick. It's like, fuck off, dude. And this is like the prog metal dude. Like, I've been in bands with these prog metal guys. No offense. And they're just like, they're so serious. I mean, at least back in the day they were. They've changed, some of them. You know, I'm just saying they're so fucking serious. Like the archetypical prog metal guy is just so fucking serious. It's like, fuck. Oh, you have to play in 13/8 in your fucking song. You can't have 4/4. At least back in the day, that's how they were. You know, and maybe they're not like this now, a lot of them. But I'll forgive them for past efforts. Oh, Steve Vai is such a better guitarist than Eddie Van Halen. Who the fuck says? Who said? Who cares? Who cares who's better? I listen to fucking Gigi Allen's, like, the shithouse demos or whatever the fuck, the scumfuck sessions, you know? The guy anybody can play that shit. You know? Anybody, half of the time they're probably wasted on drugs and alcohol playing that stuff. I don't give a shit. If I like it, I like it. If I like fucking Unexpect or Martyr from Canada or fucking, you know, I was going to say Voivod. If I like Dream Theater, I like it. I just like it. Jethro Tull. You know, even the fucking 70s bands. The 70s bands. There's this one band that from more modern time, Freak Kitchen, that's kind of proggy. They did have a sense of humor. But like the 70s bands had a lot more sense of humor too. Fucking Genesis and shit. You know, it's just like, and this Fates Warning, I kind of lost my train of thought, but pun intended. But like, yeah, Dream Theater has more of a sense of humor than fucking Fates Warning. Fuck off. That's all I gotta say.